Hey, INVADERONE here with a Platinum tutorial guide, this time on Godess. First, let's go over my build. I'm bringing a regular human Adept with Warp set up for pierce and expose, Shockwave set up for force and damage, detonate, and recharge speed, so that you need that recharge speed in Platinum, trust me. And your Alliance training, you want power damage. You don't need rank 6 because you definitely want to make sure that you have all your fitness set really high up. Also, I have Shadrach, Endo, Kane, and they helped me out with this video, and I appreciated that. One of the things that I added onto this character is I made sure that I had the Shield Booster 5. I also had a Cyclonic Modulator, the highest that I could get. I put Incendiary Rounds for my Acolyte, and by the way, I brought the Acolyte. I'm gonna give it some love, and I also have a Pistol Rail 3. And as you can see, guys, the tactic here on Godess is to be able to have two people one guy on my left side, which is Shadrach. If you look on my left, you will see him over there. His character has to be a character that has a lot of high DPS, a lot of damage per second, making sure that his character can take down Atlases really quick, can take down Brutes, because on that left side, right where he's facing Extraction, there are going to be a lot of the big boss enemies. And what I did is I brought a character like this Adept who can stagger enemies with biotic explosions. I'm also using the Acolyte to immediately strip shields. As you can see here with the Phantoms, I mean, they're not really giving me trouble. Yeah, they can be difficult in the sense of taking down your shields, but as you can see, with the Acolyte, what you do is you charge it up, you shoot it at the enemy, you strip their shields immediately, do cast out your Singularity and then warp them, or use Shockwave to destroy them. I'm using warp because I do not want to go further out. My job is to cover the two ladders, as you can see right in front of me. There's one ladder, that one right there, which I'm aiming at right now. As you can see, I'm taking down the Phantom's barriers immediately, taking them down, and I'm also checking out the other ladder and the center area. I'm just making sure that I'm stripping their barriers, making sure that they are immobile, that my Singularity messes them up. So that this is, if you feel like the Adepts haven't been given a lot of love, well, then you'll like this video, because I definitely rock this human Adept here. And you can also check out my reactor video. We do all Adepts there on that one, which is a lot of fun. And on the right side, I showed it in the beginning when you saw me running in. The right side, you see Kane and Endo. They are all the way at the bottom of this ramp, at the right side of this room, right in front of it, not inside the room actually. We go only inside the room. I'm inside the room because I'm an Adept, and I need to make sure that I am I can survive. Not only that, it's that I have the best vantage point right here in this walkway, because I'm covering two ladders, and with this if I go forward too much, I can't see the top center. If I go to the right too much, I can't check out the ladder on the left hand side or directly in front of me. So I'm making sure that these two ladders I'm paying attention to, so that they do not, the Phantoms or the Engineers do not sneak up on me. Now I will tell you guys this. Actually, I'm going to give you this tip right after this. It's very important. I want you guys to know this. On the escort, just make sure, guys, by this time, I've said it quite a few times on my videos, make sure that you're paying attention to your missiles. You make sure you all have a good missile count. Right now, as you can see, this hasn't been too difficult for us. We all have our missiles. We're making sure that we're paying attention to everything that's around us. I'm doing my job of making sure that I'm stripping shields, even though these are not arc grenades. Arc grenades strip shields a little better. I could only strip individual targets one at a time, but this is actually working out. And at this point in time, so far, we've been very lucky that we didn't have to use a missile. We're taking cover as we're taking the escort down, this is really tough. But we do have our setbacks. There are moments. This is Platinum, guys. There are moments that you see here. Almost all of us are down. I'm making sure that this is where I need to use my ops pack, because hey, this is the objective wave. Well, now we just finished it. We finished the objective wave. We were able to do the escort. We having some issues. You can see here, guys. I actually shot the acolyte at this phantom directly at her, but her barriers did not go down. And this is what I want to talk about. When you're doing this map, I'm going to be very, very honest with you. I would say this is the worst map to do platinum on, and let me explain that. I don't mean that this is not a good map. I actually like this map a lot. I like its design. I like how small it is. To me, you could do some speed runs here. You can work the map fast. I like the colors of the map. I like the structure. I mean, it's just interesting to me. I actually do like this map. But for platinum, it is a really bad map. We had a lot of issues before putting this video out. I mean, I've never had this many issues working out a platinum tutorial guide for any map. Usually, I mean, if we fail the first time, and when I talk about fail, I don't mean not finishing wave 10. We'll finish wave 10, but I'm talking about, getting a clean video that we can show, okay, this is the best strategy. We'll actually run through a few different strategies, test them out first, and to see how clean they work out, to make sure that I can say, okay, this is good, this is what you want to do. But this map has a lot of lag issues. There's a lot of sections of the map where the frame rate will just get horrible, and you see that here, and somehow we're still able to do it, but we had to be really tight. The other thing about this is that not just the frame rate, but this map has a lot of points, a lot of areas where the I guess you could call them dead zones, where you can throw a grenade and it comes out like a dud, or you throw the grenade out and it looks like it hit the floor, but it has no effect. And look at the situation here. I shot Shockwave 3 times. This is my 4th time there, and look at the Banshee. She was taking no damage. So these are some of the issues that you will have. Also, one of the issues that we did have was that the sound would continue to go out. I would have some sound. Shadrach didn't have sound half the time, and he had to be really on point. And it was really difficult because the sound is what lets you know when the Banshee's around. You hear her getting closer and closer and closer, or you hear the other enemies. You hear their sounds. And most of the team had a difficult time hearing the enemies. So that's another issue with this map. I mean, which we just had a lot of issues with. And I will tell you that just if you want to run platinum here, it's a lot of fun. It's definitely doable. As you can see, we have a simple tactic here for you guys. But the thing is that just be very aware of these issues. That there will be moments that, I mean, also. Even if your connection is really, really good, sometimes the map will still lag a little bit. Let me give you an example. Before we did this video, we had a few other videos, and I'm sorry, a few other tries on this map. And even though we made it to wave 10, we got the money, we did all that. I just didn't want to put that one out. But one of the issues that we had, I mean, it's just due to the lag. I would be inside the room, totally fine, and I'll dodge, knowing that the Banshee is warping in. And the moment that I'm doing my combat roll or my dodge, immediately at that moment, she will have already captured me, which made no sense. And in this situation, look at Shadrach went down, and he was right next to me. He went down because in his screen he could not tell what was happening. So. This is what I'm telling you guys. There are some issues with this map, and I'm gonna be honest with you. I didn't have this many issues, almost any issues at all, doing all the other platinum tutorial vids. So I warn you, when you're gonna do platinum on this map, it is a fun map. It's great. It's definitely doable. Just do it. Don't even stress it about the issues. Just play the map. Have fun. It's a really great map. But there are a lot of issues with the map. I'm just going to warn you right now when it comes to platinum. Why? I think it's because it's just too much to handle. There are a lot, meaning too much to handle for the server, too much to handle for the computer to process, all your powers together at the same time. So, the computer's processing the Banshee warping in, the sounds, the bullets going at it, all the biotic explosions, all the tech bursts, it has to process all these things, and this is one of those maps that it just seems to have a lot of difficulty with that. So I just warn you ahead of time. But hey, guys, as you can see here, two of us are handling, kind of like the area where I'm at. Well, not inside the room, but close to the left-hand side of the room of this lab, and two are further down the ladder. Now, we are the only time that we go into the room. Really, you don't stay into the room. I'm the only one who's really staying in the room, only because my line of sight helps me out, and I'm using the acolyte to strip shields. But Kane and Endo are actually down there where I'm shooting at right now. They're by that ammo box, to making sure that they are able to shoot at any spawn point that comes that gets spawned across the way. And if it gets tough, then they back up. Now, one thing that they do is, once we know where the Banshee is at, we're calling it out. You gotta have call outs, guys. You gotta say Banshee on the left, Banshee coming in, and she's in the room now. Once you know they're in the room, Kane and Kane and Endo were able to come into the room with Shadrach and I, and help us out. You want to take out the Banshees as quickly as possible. A lot of damage to the Banshees immediately. And the objective wave, guys, both Shadrach and I were in this side. It was closer to us, so we did it. And then we went for the next one. As you can see, I'm covering. I'm making sure that if I see a hunter or anything like that, I'm using the acolyte to immediately strip his shields. That's the good thing about the acolyte, guys. This is a great gun. Once you get to know how to use it. What's great about this gun is, look at this. Even though that hunter shot me, if you saw that, I got staggered. I was able to let go of my bullet. Like, it actually got out, even though I was staggered. So even though I got staggered by the Geth Hunter, I was still able to I was still able to release my shot from the acolyte, essentially stripping its shields immediately. And then the second that my stagger effect wore off, I hit I could hit the hunter with singularity and just take him down with a biotic explosion, and that's what you want, So as you can see here, guys, see on the left hand side, we're not staying in the room. Shadrach is actually going out further out. He's checking out that spawn point. I'm checking both staircases. You can see that's why I'm in this spot, because I'm checking anybody jumping in, the Phantoms especially. They will come in from both sides, all three sides actually. And this is, after the objective wave, the pizza delivery, this is the infiltrator wave, where you just get, tons of Phantoms and hunters. So make sure that you're paying attention to that. And if you don't have, you should have the Adept. But if you don't want to play the Adept, you can use like a Corian male with arc grenades, Demolisher, just somebody who can strip shields here, somebody who can kind of pay attention to both ladders. And you don't have to have somebody who has arc grenades or anything like that. I mean, you could bring another character. You could bring a Krogan and just put a Geth plasma shotgun, and you could stagger Phantoms, or bring somebody that as long as you're taking down the enemy as quickly as possible, that's what matters. And on my side, where I was, this area, what I'm covering, you definitely need to be able to take out enemies quickly, or to be able to stagger them to the point that it allows you to do a lot of damage on them. Guys, as you can see, this is actually going quite well. Taking advantage of the acolyte. Endo and Kane are all the way on the right, on the right side. As you can see on my screen, when you look to the right, you'll see their names. They're doing a good job making sure they're taking out the spawns. They're handling any enemy that comes down there. I'm making sure that I'm handling the center area. I got 3 points here of interest. I got two ladders. I'm sorry, I keep on saying staircase. 2 ladders, and then I also have this little open area where the Phantoms jump in. They just jump in. So I have little 3 points that I'm paying attention to. So you need to have somebody doing this, and this is one of the toughest positions, guys, because I'm really a support character here, and you see that. You may not get a lot of scores here because I'm not the guy going. Like for example, Shadrach is at the left. He's handling. He's really focused on those big spawn point. The big spawn point right by extraction. Kane is also at the other bigger spawn point, which is at the center of the map. There's a whole bunch of spawn points there. Both Endo and I are more support right now, where we're trying to strip shields, and we're making sure that we're also debuffing enemies, by the way. On the right side of the map, I think, I'm trying to remember now off the top of my head. Sorry guys, I think Kane, or I think it was Kane who's actually debuffing enemies with a proxy mine to make sure that, you know, when the banshees come in or any large enemies come in, he can debuff them. So, you know, on platinum, you want to be able to strip shields. You want to be able to debuff enemies, and that could be either with things like tools like the proximity mine. But if you're at an adept, you know, adepts also debuff enemies with warp. You know, that's the way I have my warp set up. I have my warp set up to expose the enemy so that they take more weapon damage. So, you know, for example, here I warp the Atlases, I warp the Banshees. You know, there's a lot of debuffing capability here. The greatest thing about my build right now, my setup, is that I can do biotic explosions, so I'm really destroying enemies quickly. I can strip shields with the Acolyte, so that's a great thing. That's a huge plus. And at the same time, you know, I'm providing a debuff capability with warp. You know, as I'm doing biotic explosions, that's great, but warp itself is also allowing the enemies to be debuffed. So, you know, this is a very, very cool setup. And you know, by the way, this is the base human adept. You know, he's such a great character. I've always liked him a lot. I mean, he's got, you know, 3 great prowess, which is singularity. He's got warp and shockwave. Look at this, guys. We're already, you know, in the later waves, and you know, we're really tight. And you know, it took us a little bit to get here because this map was just giving so much trouble, I mean, I previous to this, I was constantly, at least one time, getting insta-killed by the Banshee, and it just could not understand the kind of lag that we were getting with this map. It was just absolutely horrible. So, you know, just make sure, you know, when you're playing this map, to be cognizant of that. And by the way, the Acolyte does work against the Banshee. As you can see, it'll take about maybe 3 hits from the Acolyte charged up to take down her barriers completely. It takes 1 shot, as you can see, to all the lower level enemies. It also takes, for the Atlases, it takes about the same amount, 3 shots with the Acolyte to take down its shields. And then, and what you want to do is you want to shoot the Acolyte first, strip the shields, shoot Acolyte first, warp the enemy, and then shockwave them. Alright, unless they're, you know, there's the big boss enemies like Atlases and Banshees, you know, Brutes, you know, all those big enemies. Well, Brutes you don't need to use the Acolyte on, but you know, you want to just use warp and then shockwave. But enemies that are like farther away, you can snipe them out by using the Acolyte first, stripping down the shields, use singularity to kind of mess them up so that they can't move, and then use warp to kind of detonate them. And that's what you want to do. As you can see here, look, we have the Banshee again. You know, she's got a little bit of an erratic pattern here. And once she gets into the room, we're all calling it out, making sure that we all come into the room, and we look how quickly she went down. This match is actually going really smooth, guys. We're doing excellent time in this match. But you know, you probably will have a similar experience to this. I just tell you, just make sure that you're tight. You know, you see over here how we're all together. We know that this is the later wave. We understand that, you know, this room becomes kind of like a fallout. You know, and when the situation gets tough. And once we finish out the wave, we all go back to our respective areas or respective zones, because you really don't want to camp out, you know, like in any one spot, because this is platinum. You know, the Banshees will come in and pick you up, the Phantoms will come in and stab you. I mean, it's just, you just can't camp here. Here, when you get targets eliminated, guys, you know, this is not like gold. You want to make sure that you take these out as quickly as possible, because the enemies will overwhelm you. The Banshees are immediately coming out to you. Just make sure you take your time to like really aim, so you're not missing missiles. You're not really, you don't want to do that where, you know, you're missing your target, because you know, you might need a missile for extraction, or you might need a missile for later for whatever it is. So just make sure, you know, you're aiming accurately. Here, this one part here, we could have done better. You know, I called the missiles, so did my buddy. We called it at the same time. We shot it at the same time. We didn't realize that we were both going to do it, because we have finished the objective, and now we're just trying to make sure we're keeping each other alive. And we both shot missiles at the same time, so we both wasted missiles there. So that's something that maybe, you know, just a little bit of a note to make sure that you and your team are really understand, you know, your own call outs. And you know, we did fine, we did totally fine, just that, you know, if for whatever reason we needed the missiles later and we didn't have them, it could have been a difficult difficult situation. Oh, you see, this is where I'm at right now. This is exactly where Kane and Endo were at. This is the area that you kind of want to hang out in. And you know, you see where I'm running back into the room. This is like a fallback. So little by little, as the enemy is pushing back, you come back into the room and take some cover, or you know, use the room as a way, as a draw to draw in the Banshee and mess her up. And also to kind of use it as a way to ensure that you and your team stay alive in that area. It becomes, you know, pretty much a fallback spot. Hey guys, here it is. I mean, we're already by extraction. This has been really clean, really fast. You know, I can't promise that your experience will be the same, only because there are issues with this map. But hey, play it, had fun with it. I mean, I like the map. I really wish it didn't have these issues, but you know, still, it is what it is. See the situation, it got a little tough. We know we're by extraction. Once it gets to a minute, what you want to do is you want to actually, all of you want to stay in the room like we did. Once it gets to a minute, you're going to want to start, you know, kiting the enemy around or leaving. So you're going to go through the right side here. You're going to go out there. You're going to see where I go. Just make sure you take cover. You see this you know, cover area. I specifically took this so you guys can see exactly what I'm doing. So I'm taking cover here, making sure I got a, you know, open area, and then I'm coming over, you know, here to this section. You know, make sure that at least one of you has a missile in case it gets tight. It got tight for us. This is a spawn point here on the right. Somehow it appeared. So just make sure at least one of you has a missile. If you don't, just make sure that you can, you know, run past, and you know, and survive it. Now, in hindsight, maybe we could have left in 45 seconds, you know, to go around instead of a minute. But you never know; anything could happen. You know, you can get killed. If you can't do it this way to kite around, that I recommend that you hang out in the room as much as you can, and then you shoot a missile towards where Shadrach was standing at and where I was standing at, and you know, just clean out all the enemies and kind of go right through there or right through that top. You know, go straight into extraction. So, guys, I hope this has been helpful. Enjoy it. If you have any comments or any requests, more information that you want, please let me know. And this is the Platinum Tutorial Guide brought to you by